Greetings, Tezos Nation. Welcome to another edition of the TezTalks live stream. I'm Stu from the Tezos Commons. Joining me today is Yann Regis-Gianis, Engineering Manager at Nomadic Labs. Nomadic Labs, for those who might not know, is one of the largest research and development centers in the Tezos ecosystem. It is composed of more than 50 engineering researchers working on the ongoing development and evolution of the Tezos protocol. Nomadic Labs has brought forward the latest Tezos protocol upgrade dubbed Mumbai, which is currently making its way through the Tezos on-chain governance process. On today's stream, we'll be giving away a Tezos branded nano ledger to one of our lucky viewers. If you'd like that lucky viewer to be you, keep an ear out for a keyword later on during the stream. And of course, if you have any questions for Yann that you'd like me to ask, please add them in the chat at any time, and we'll get to as many as we can before we wrap up. Hi, Yann. How are things?
Hello. Hello. Things are pretty cold in Paris, actually, on the outside at least, but very hot on the inside.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm at Nomadic Labs offices.
Awesome. To get the ball rolling, can you tell us a little bit about your background and your personal journey into the exciting world of blockchain technology?
Yeah, so I've been associate professor at University of Paris for almost 15 years, and I have some expertise in functional programming, type systems, formal verifications, not blockchain actually at the beginning, but many of my students actually joined Nomadics, and they told me, "Oh, you should see what we are doing in Okamar, building these blockchains. It's very exciting, etc." And they piqued my curiosity. I came and opened the door and just never come back to the university.
And now here you are.
And here we are. Yes. So my journey so far, I worked on optimizing the Michelson interpreter. So maybe it was 2 years ago now. You could have seen a drop in the gas consumption in Tezos, and it was one of
That was
my.
you.
You've seen it at some point, maybe. And after that, I worked on the cache for the protocol to also reduce the gas consumption. And and the next project was a very big one. It was about leading the smart rollups project that will be activated in Mumbai. And now I'm managing the team that builds layer 2 solutions for Tezos.
Awesome. So in case anybody in the space is unaware, can you tell us a little bit about Nomadic Labs and its place in the Tezos ecosystem?
Sure. So Nomadic is, we have several activities. We are a big actor in the core development of Tezos, both at the level of the protocol. When you have protocol upgrades, we are usually important contributors with other entities. I can talk about that later. But we are also maintaining the Octez distribution that includes Octez nodes and a lot of tools to actually run the Tezos protocol. At Nomadic, we have also people that works on the adoption of Tezos protocol in France, Luxembourg, Belgium. That's it. We are
Very cool.
engineers, as you said. A lot of PhD, very, very skilled people, and super nice also, I guess.
Right on.
I think.
So you mentioned collaborations with other entities in the Tezos ecosystem. Can you tell us a little bit about those collaborations and what they look like?
So we have first we have this roadmap for the Tezos project where several entities are collaborating. So on the core development, so you have Trilitech, Marigold, Dai Lambda, Oxel, Alpha, etc. Dai Lambda too, yes. And Tarides also participates in some ways. And we are working mainly on a new version of Octez, new version of the protocol amendment that we propose to the community. So that's the core dev part, but we are also collaborating with the ecosystem to understand what they need and help them to just keep up. I mean, keep up with all the evolution of the Tezos project to integrate all the changes that comes continuously. And finally, we also collaborate with builders. We're trying to answer questions, but also to give some support to individuals, startups, large companies that wants to build on top of Tezos.
Cool.
Uh, that's a
So
lot.
to that end, Tezos' latest protocol upgrade, dubbed Mumbai, is
Yeah.
currently in the voting phase and looks likely to be adopted and implemented in the near future. What can you tell us about the Mumbai upgrade and what it means for the Tezos ecosystem?
Well, I guess the most uh, important, or let's say, the feature that people are waiting for is the smart rollups. They will be activated in Mumbai. It means that we'll have I think, a very nice solution for scaling in Tezos. I can talk about that maybe a bit later. We'll also have epoxy, that is, let's say, a first step towards zero knowledge proofs in the Tezos protocol. That's super important to get good finality. Again, I can explain that a bit later if you want. What else? We'll move the block time to 15 seconds. I think that's also very important. So blocks will be a bit shorter in the sense that you will have less operations inside, but you will have a new block more frequently. So it will provide better UX, better latency, user latency. And we also have some technical improvements like ticket transfers that can be done now between accounts. So TZ1, you don't have to. Oh, the light has stopped.
It's
Sorry.
okay. You look
You
great.
can see me.
Yeah.
It's not too dark. Okay. We'll have new RPCs as well as new instructions in the Michelson smart contract languages to deal with bytes. So yeah.
Okay. We have a question that's come through from the audience. You mentioned a roadmap, and somebody has Daniel has asked, the roadmap you mentioned for Tezos, is it visible for people somewhere?
Well, I was talking about the a roadmap for the core development teams. It's a place where we try to synchronize ourselves together to be as efficient as possible. I'm not sure yeah, it cannot be. I mean, the development of Tezos is open, so we really are looking for external contribution. So we don't want to say, I think we have a fixed roadmap and it's a closed development. So that's why it's not, it's not public in the sense that it's not the official roadmap of this project because there is no much sense
Mhm.
of this. But yeah, actually, it's if you could just reach out the core devs, you can have access to this roadmap. It's public in the yeah when we talk during protocols and etc. So yeah, that was a
As you say, it's a evolving space, so it's
yeah,
difficult to put a firm roadmap in place, right? Um,
exactly.
so obviously, Mumbai won't be the first significant protocol upgrade we've seen on the Tezos chain. In fact, we've seen many, and this is happening pretty regularly at this stage. And I'm curious if you can talk a little bit about the frequency of protocol upgrades that we've seen rolled out here in the Tezos ecosystem, and why it's important for Tezos to maintain a pace like that.
So I think it's important uh, just to catch up with all the work that developers are pushing. The innovations that we want to push inside Tezos. So we have this model in which we have these projects, the objectives that we have, and we develop some features. And when they are ready, they are shipped in the next protocol proposal. So, and since we are working continuously, we always have a feature set that can be shipped in the train and be in production. And I think it's very great to have this frequency so that we know we can have a continuous way of pushing new things, integrate new ideas, and make the protocol constantly evolves. Instead of waiting for some big features to be finished to do a release, it's a completely different philosophy. It's like the train just uh, it leaves the station at a given date, and we make our best to be ready. And
Mhm.
everything that is ready is in the train. That's the idea.
Makes a lot of sense. So you mentioned smart rollups as a key component of the Mumbai upgrade. I'm wondering, can you explain exactly what smart rollups are and what they bring to the Tezos ecosystem?
Yeah, sure. So smart rollups are scaling solutions. So a scaling solution is something that allows you to actually to make a promise to your users that says, okay, you want resources, you don't know exactly how many resources you will need in the future because you don't know if your app will have, I don't know, 100 users or 1 million. Don't worry, Tezos is ready to adapt to your needs. And to achieve that, mainly uh, you have two ways. Either you make more space in each block, and to do that, you have to optimize the way you validate your construct block, optimize as much as possible. It's called vertical scaling. It's about making the layer one as powerful as possible. We have already, as I've said previously, on for instance, optimizing the Michelson interpreter is one of the way you achieve that. You make more room, okay? But sometimes it's not enough. And actually, there is another way, very interesting to get scaling is to get more space. Actually, is to do horizontal scaling. So instead of making the block more efficient, just add more lines of production of blocks. You say to a user, okay, if you need more resources, just add your own way of building blocks, and you will have the control of, in terms of resources, uh, of this line of production. So smart rollups are it's about horizontal scaling.
Mm.
Um, in practice, it means that just like you deploy a smart contract when you when you write some code, you put it on the chain, and now it's active on the chain. Here, the idea is that you will be able to originate a smart rollup. It will create you an address, and this address actually is how you identify your production, your line of block production, and you will be able to um, actually connect your own infrastructure to the blockchain, to layer one, and it will be able to communicate assets, to transfer assets from the layer one to your layer two solution. And after that, you will be able to execute. Uh, it depends of course, on the how powerful is your server on your infrastructure, but you will have no limitation on the actual resources that your app can use because you control it.
So, sorry. So that vertical scaling that you're talking about at this stage, is that purely theoretical, or are there ways that you expect to see that applied today?
Oh, that's not theoretical at all. It's
Okay.
something that exists. We already tested and tried building things with it on testnet, and it will appear on mainnet. So it's not theoretical at all. You just write some D app that run in Watham, and you're able to just connect it to the main chain. It's not dissimilar to the internet. This ability of the internet for you to get with
Yeah.
your network wire and just connect to it, and then you have your own subnetwork that is connected to the internet. You control the network, the machines there, but they are connected to the internet. That's a very important feature.
Totally. That
You see?
makes all kinds of sense.
Mhm.
We have another audience queue that has come through. Compassion Press would like to know: can apps like Object.com use smart rollups? What would be the benefit?
The immediate benefit is throughput. So the ability to handle more transactions per second. That's the immediate benefit. You so it's so you cannot, for the moment at least, we don't have a solution to migrate existing G app to rollups. That's something on which we want to work in the future. But what you would do is simply to to recompile or to adjust a bit your code to run in a rollup, because there are some constraints. I can go back on this later on, but more or less, it will when you have done that, you will be in control of the resources, both the computational resources, so the number of transactions that you can deal per second, and also the network, the bandwidth, because we have abilities uh, to have data going inside the rollup without going through the L1. So it's really these two aspects that are now far larger with rollups.
Well, it sounds
And
like.
in the end, just to conclude, what
Go
you
ahead.
get is probably a lower infrastructure cost, because you won't have to, in the layer one, when layer one gets congestion, I mean, you have too many operations in the block, like, you have to pay higher fees to go inside the block. And that's a real cost in practice. So here you can say, okay, I can predict the cost of my app because I'm in total control of the resources. So it will not depend on the fee market. It's simply me buying some server as something very classical,
Okay.
very standard.
So if we're talking about increased throughput and we're talking about lower infrastructure costs and a bit more stability from a financial standpoint, it sounds like this is something that would benefit any app that's
Yeah,
building in the Tezos ecosystem.
sure. I agree. Well, there is a development cost. You have to, for the moment at least, to understand how rollups work. You have to also you have some constraints. One of them is what is called long finality of rollups. I can explain a little bit if we have the time. Do we? A
Go
bit.
ahead.
Let's try. Okay. So what we have implemented, to enter into a bit of technical details, are optimistic rollups. So this idea that the machine that will execute your D app will regularly post a hash on the layer one. This hash represents the state of the machine, and it's for you a way to say, I'm following the rules. I'm executing the D app following the rules that are public, and I'm not cheating. Okay, because given the input, we know that the rules are deterministic and the state must move from one state to another. And you don't have to trust me, actually. Using this hash, you will be able to verify that I'm not lying. But in the case of optimistic rollup, this confidence is actually optimistic. You say, okay, by default, we trust this hash to be correct. And if you really care about this hash, you can actually run your own rollup node, so something that will execute exactly the same computation and check that you have the same hash. Just in case, if you do not trust very well the rollup operator. In that case, uh, imagine that the rollup operator was not honest, what you can do is actually to refute the hash and say, oh, actually, this hash is not the right one. There is another one that I trust, and the layer one will act as an arbiter. He will decide who's right. Okay, that's the idea. I won't enter into the details of how this is done, but in the end, what is important is that if there is an honest operator, someone that is only one honest participant, we know that the rollup is safe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The only weakness maybe of this approach is that you need to let enough time to the community to actually look at the hash, execute, check that the hash are the same, etc., and then dispute if there is an issue. And the industry standard, because of censorship, possible censorship, etc., is to let 2 weeks for people to refute the hash.
Yeah.
So it means that if you have something that you want to move from the rollup to the layer one, you have to wait 2 weeks for it to be finalized. So that's a weakness in some sense. I can go back on this later, talking about zk proof, etc. But let's understand how you can do to work around this weakness. It's simply to have, for instance, liquidity pools that allows you to allow an immediate withdrawal, so that you do not have to wait 2 weeks. You will just say, okay, I know as an operator, I know I'm honest. So I can give you the tokens now, and in 2 weeks I will do the withdrawal by myself. That's a kind of workaround that we have that makes the rollups, smart rollups, quite usable in practice.
Rather than the tokens being locked up throughout that process.
Exactly. Yes.
Makes a lot of sense. This is all great stuff so far. I'm excited to learn more. But before we dive deeper, are you ready for the world famous TezTalks lightning round?
Prepared myself a lot. Not at all. Let's try.
Before we do that, I'd like to announce today's keyword for the Tezos branded Nano Ledger we're giving away today. Today's keyword is !Mumbai. Enter the keyword !Mumbai in the live stream chat, and Nightbot will randomly select today's winner, who will announce before the end of the stream. Okay, Yann, it is lightning round time. Remember, there are no wrong answers. This is just for fun so our viewers can get to know you a little bit better. Are you ready?
I am.
Cats or dogs?
Cats.
Pizza or sushi?
Sushi.
Movies or video games?
Oh, video games. Yes, video games.
Is this real life or are we in a simulation?
Simulation, for sure.
True or false? Money buys happiness.
False.
Name one thing you absolutely want to do before you die.
Run Doom in a blockchain.
Interesting. The last place you traveled was?
London.
Me too. In 5 words or less, how would your best friend describe you?
Hacker with bad jokes, probably.
I like it. And finally, what is your favorite thing to do on a rainy day?
Chill with my kids, my family.
Great answer. Great. You'd be surprised how many people tell me their favorite thing to do is code.
Yeah, that's true, but yeah, I'm already a bit too nerdy today, so keep a bit of doubt about this.
Excellent answers. This concludes the TezTalks lightning round. Let's get back into it. So we've all been hearing a lot of chatter about Tezos' stated goal of 1 million transactions per second. In fact, we had an audience queue that came through that we didn't get to because we knew we were going to talk about this anyway. Can you talk a bit about why 1 million transactions per second is such an important milestone and what that number represents? And also this person wanted to know if Mumbai is going to get us there.
So yes, and would say the number is a bit symbolic, but actually we could also do 1 billion TPS, maybe. I don't know. The idea here is to demonstrate that um, scaling is actually working, or horizontal scaling is actually working. And for that, there are several potential bottlenecks. So typically, the ability for all rollups to interact with the layer one constantly in an efficient way. For instance, you also want to show that the way you execute rollups is sufficiently efficient to reach already very good throughput in each rollup. You want also to show that you are able to transfer transactions to the rollups efficiently. That kind of challenges, technical challenges, you need to demonstrate them. So 1 million TPS0 is just about saying, okay, we took MondayNet, so a testnet, I think reflects what Tezos is, layer one is today. And we'll deploy 1,000 rollup running at 1,000 TPS by second. Okay. So, and we'll show that they can, they do not interfere with each other. It's a very important property of all scaling solution that when you add more users, you add more activity, it has no impact on existing activities. That's very important. And we decided to reach the 1 million TPS. Actually, again, it could be 10 million, maybe. I mean, we could, that's not the actual point. The actual point is to show that with a significant number of rollups, we don't have any interference. Everything is running smoothly. That's the idea.
So it sounds like, like 1 million TPS is a milestone, and it's something that we've talked about, and it's a goal that we've made a
Yeah.
decision as an ecosystem to reach.
Yes.
But the way you're describing it, it sounds like there's no limit, right? If you're doing
There is
1,000,
probably a limit. I cannot tell you there is no limit. There is probably a
okay.
limit. We never push the system. So we reached the 1 million TPS, even actually more than that during our internal demos. Maybe I don't know if I'm spoiling too much, but we never push the system to its limit for the moment because it's actually yeah, it could cost a lot. You would have to run a lot of rollups, I think,
Mm.
and even defining what it means. Yeah, I guess yeah we could do it, but yeah, I don't know what it could be
So
actually.
we're going to start with 1 million.
Yeah, 1 million seems quite good already.
Very cool. And to answer our audience question, like um, about what part Mumbai will play in that, is the part that Mumbai will play with that will play into that simply enabling smart rollups.
So you cannot, as I've said, the million TPS is reached when you have 1,000 rollup running at 1,000 TPS.
Mm.
Um, yes, if we have enough, I mean, if a lot of people are using rollups, 1,000 and have high activity, will reach in practice 1 million TPS in the entire Tezos system. That's true. A single user, I mean, of course, if you have enough money to buy all the servers, 1,000 servers, etc., and enough users to reach that, you can. It's perfectly possible. And indeed, yes, Mumbai is ready for the 1 million and maybe more um, throughput. So there is no issue with
Perfect.
Mumbai.
So I understand your team is now working on something called EVM rollups, which I believe you touched on a bit earlier. Can you talk a bit about what an EVM rollup is and how it differs from the transaction optimistic rollups and the smart rollups that we've seen rolled out in protocol upgrades so far?
Yeah, so EVM rollup are just special usage of smart rollups actually. It's a DApp, just it's an app that run in a rollup, just a WASM rollup, the one that we have in Mumbai. But this app is actually EVM is implementing an EVM compatible chain. It means that people will be able to deploy such rollup and connect it to the ecosystem tools of the Ethereum world, and the chain will run on top of Tezos. So it means that if someone has already a Solidity code base, because of historical reasons, I guess, because that's probably something that you have for a long time. You can take it and deploy it with this set of tools, let's say, on top of Tezos. That's the idea, because EVM is the de facto standard these days for the industry, and some companies are looking for some ways to be able, if they need to migrate their I don't know, their stuff from Ethereum to Tezos, because the costs are lighter and the technology is better, really. So that's the kind of audience that we are looking for here. And it's also a demonstration that the smart rollups are not only capable of high throughput and everything that I've told before, but also they are production ready.
Okay.
There are things on which you can build robust solutions.
Okay. Speaking of audience, we're getting a lot of audience cues through here, so I'm gonna jump into a couple more. So P asks, originating a smart rollup with Octez client requires an operator address. What is that? And does the operator address have some privilege?
Um, I I'm not sure what that means exactly. Actually, once you have a TZ1, so a standard Tezos account, you can originate smart rollups. There is no special operator address. The only thing that needs to be said at some point is that if you want to run a rollup, so to publish these hashes that I've talked before, you need to put a stake of 10,000 TES. It's a lot of money, and it's an economic incentive for operators not to cheat, because you remember this notion of refutation when you
Yeah.
have two hashes, etc. If you lose a game, you lose your stake. So it's a way to prevent people from spamming with hashes, because each time you push an hashes, I mean, not exactly that. It's each time you start a new branch in
Yeah.
the system, you have to put 10,000 XTZ on the table, so it prevents a lot of spam. The
Makes
idea.
sense. P also asks, what is the limit on transactions per rollup?
So, as usual, it depends what you mean by transactions. It's super important to define this, I mean, in a rigorous way, to say what it means to have a certain number of TPS. To me, of course, a transaction is two accounts, an amount, and the transaction is signed. That's super important, and you check the signature. Okay, if you don't do that, it's another kind of transaction. It could make sense in some application, but it's not the standard definition of transaction. So let's assume that the definition of transaction, in this case, for the moment, we are able to reach easily 1,000 TPS on each rollup. But actually, what is beautiful with rollups in some sense is that you can actually dimension, have the right server for your need. So maybe with a faster machine, you will be able to reach more TPS. we will also work on something to probably optimize even more the efficiency of rollups, but it's for the future, so I cannot tell. But so for the moment, 1,000 TPS, something that is seems quite
Sounds fair.
normal.
Daniel would like to know, are EVM rollups possible with Mumbai?
That's a good question. Actually, uh, per, perhaps in the current design that we have in mind, actually we are not. Um, we want to take the time to have a production ready system. So we want to really give a distribution for this subsystem that allows anyone to deploy and have a robust solution. And so we are targeting N, so the next protocol, and we'll do some adjustment to the smart rollup probably with the current design that we have in mind. So in principle, I think if you don't, how to say that? I think it could be possible to use Mumbai to build an EVM rollup. The EVM rollup that we want, that has very good design, actually, in my opinion. It will need some adjustment, but yeah, I don't know if that's
And
the.
it's in the works.
Oh yes, yes. That's why it's very hot here. The brains of the engineers are very hot and working
Yeah.
hard.
So I'll do one more audience question, and then we're gonna have to start wrapping up here.
Already?
Um, yes, I told you it was gonna go fast, didn't I? Daniel would like to know: is there a tutorial how to originate a rollup?
Hmm.
Where could somebody look for something like that?
So currently there is the manual of Tezos on tezos.gitlab.io. We are working on an extension of OpenTezos to probably have more, I would say, pedagogical material and maybe at least have a tutorial way of explaining how to develop and originate a rollup. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's ongoing.
Cool. Now, audience cue from me because I would just like to know this.
Oh,
Can you?
just a
Oh,
second. Just a second.
okay.
Sorry. Uh, if you have any question regarding Smart Rollup, don't hesitate to use Stack Exchange with the tag Smart Rollup, and you will have support from the engineers.
This is on Discord.
Stack Exchange, Tezos
Oh,
Stack
sorry. Yeah,
Exchange
right.
website, like Stack Overflow, Stack
Okay.
Overflow like platform. Yeah, sorry for the interruption.
Can you explain the term zero knowledge rollup?
Yes, that's super exciting evolution of rollups. So actually, it's based on something called ZK proofs. So it's a very neat idea from cryptography that allows you to build a very compact proof that you have done some computation. And this proof can be checked in very efficiently. So it can be a way to tackle the weakness that I've described before, this
Hmm.
2 weeks finality of optimistic rollup. But so it's a lot of hope, but for the moment, the tech is not ready. We have a team that works on this. The competitors also have are working on that because obviously it could be a very great improvement on rollups. And we have a plan. We are already building the next generation. I mean, at least designing or thinking about the way to add more opportunistic finality in rollups. So we'll see if that works. But yeah, that's I cannot really go into the TS. It's very complex, but you trade you trade proof time with you put a little more infrastructure to compute these proofs,
Mm,
but in exchange you get instant finality, so it's better for UX. It
very
is
cool.
in development,
Thank you
but
for
today it has its limits.
that. Is there anything upcoming from Nomadic Labs that we should all be looking forward to? Any exciting announcements or rollouts in the works?
Um, I don't think so. I think smart rollups are already very
Mm,
big, really. Yeah, one goal that we have is to really make smart rollups uh, a very, very good with a very good UX to just attract developers and say that's very good technology. Just try it and you will be convinced.
very cool. As I said, we're almost at the end here. Before we close off, I'd like to announce the winner of the Tezos branded Nano Ledger we're giving away today. Today's winner is Tofu Taco.
Okay.
Congratulations, Tofu Taco. To claim your prize, just email us at social@tezoscommons.org. We'll request a screenshot for verification that you're the account owner, and then we'll get your shiny new Nano Ledger over to you just as quick as we can. For those who missed out today, we remind you there are frequently awesome giveaways to be found here on the TezTalks live stream. So please keep tuning in. If you'd like to get in touch with us, our social media contact can be found at tezoscommons.org/TezTalks. We'd love to hear from you. Yann, thanks so much for joining us today. It's always awesome to speak to the folks working behind the scenes to keep those protocol upgrades coming and keep Tezos at the forefront of the Web3 revolution. Is there anything else you'd like to mention before we sign off here?
Thank you very much. That's it. And we go
My
back to
pleasure.
work and make this great, make Tezos great.
Fabulous. And we'd love to do it again sometime if you're up for it.
Thanks. Good
Everyone
night.
out there in Tezos land, thanks for joining us on the Tez Talks live stream. I am Stu from the Tezos Commons, and our awesome guest has been Yann Regis-Gianis, engineering manager at Nomadic Labs. Now let's go vote on Mumbai.